A submarine tragedy in the year 1963, a significant event unfolded in the history of naval warfare. The USS Thresher, a leading vessel in the U.S. Navy submarine fleet, tragically sank, resulting in the loss of 129 crew members. This incident is often remembered as one of the most substantial military failures of the decade. However, the full details surrounding the events of that fateful day remained a mystery, only coming to light decades later, in 2020. While the world was aware of the Thresher's sinking, the government offered little information, leaving many crucial details redacted and shrouded in secrecy. This deliberate obfuscation has led to numerous theories and speculations over the years, fueling curiosity and concern regarding the safety of nuclear-powered submarines. The USS Thresher, a technological marvel. The USS Thresher was a groundbreaking nuclear-powered attack submarine, designed to be a formidable force against its Soviet counterparts, such as the November and Victor classes.
She had this big sonar which had incredible range. She could fire anti-submarine missiles, which were a new thing then.
It had a complement of 96 enlisted personnel and 16 officers, making it a well-manned vessel prepared for the challenges of modern warfare. What set the Thresher apart was its advanced technology. The submarine was equipped with a state-of-the-art sonar system, the most comprehensive and sophisticated of its time. This technology enabled the Thresher to operate with minimal noise, an essential feature for an attack submarine engaged in stealth operations. The ability to evade detection was paramount during the Cold War, and the Thresher's design aimed to ensure it could perform effectively in hostile waters. At an impressive length of 278 feet 6 inches and a width of 31 feet 8 inches, the Thresher was among the largest submarines in the fleet. Its design allowed for dives to depths of approximately 1,300 feet. Furthermore, powered by nuclear energy, the Thresher had an unlimited range and a top speed of 20 knots, far surpassing the capabilities of submarines at the time. This combination of speed and advanced sonar technology earned the Thresher the distinction of being the fastest and quietest submarine ever built. As Vice Admiral Harold T. Deuterman famously remarked, "Thresher is not just another ship. Thresher is totally different." This statement encapsulated the pride and expectations that surrounded this innovative vessel. The fateful voyage begins on April 8, 1963. The USS Thresher departed from its base in Kittery, Maine, under the command of Lieutenant Commander John Wesley Harvey. The submarine was set for a series of routine tests in an area approximately 220 nautical miles east of Cape Cod, Massachusetts. This voyage was critical for assessing the submarine's performance and reliability, particularly given the advanced technologies on board. After completing initial inspections, the Thresher conducted a trim dive test, a preliminary exercise designed to ensure the submarine was ready for deeper dives. Following this, the crew prepared for a more significant descent to its standard test depth of 1,300 feet, a depth it had successfully reached on over 40 prior occasions. The submarine remained submerged overnight, and on April 10, it re-established communication with the surface support vessel, Skylark. During this communication, the Thresher followed a pre-planned diving profile, confirming the integrity of its systems at regular intervals. However, as the submarine neared its intended test depth, communication began to falter. The moment of crisis, what transpired next would lead to one of the most tragic events in naval history. As the Thresher descended, its communications with Skylark became increasingly garbled. The crew on Skylark received a final message that was largely unintelligible, with only 900 being discernible. This vague transmission indicated that the Thresher was at a depth of 900 feet, but after that, all contact ceased. By 3 p.m., the Navy realized something had gone terribly wrong. 15 naval vessels were quickly dispatched to search the area for the missing submarine. By 6:30 p.m., the commander of the submarine force began notifying the families of the crew, starting with Commander Harvey's wife, that the Thresher was officially missing. From April 12 to April 15, the nation mourned, as flags flew at half-staff in honor of the 129 lost crew members. The likelihood of finding anyone alive was diminishing rapidly, even under the best scenarios. Search and recovery operations. The search for the USS Thresher commenced on April 12, 1963, with the Navy launching an extensive operation. Surface ships were deployed to scour the ocean, supported by the Naval Research Laboratory, which had deep search capabilities. A small acoustic research vessel, the Rockville, was among the first to be sent out, tasked with locating the missing submarine. Alongside the Rockville, the bathyscaphe Trieste was transported from San Diego to Boston. This specialized deep-sea submersible was intended for 2 series of dives into the debris field. However, initial operations faced difficulties, leading to delays and pauses in the search. The Navy's efforts were extensive. Mazar, a small auxiliary oceanographic research vessel, was also included in the search efforts. Equipped with highly sensitive proton magnetometers, Mazar utilized advanced technology to locate the wreckage. This search commenced on June 25, 1964, and within just 2 days, the destroyed remains of the Thresher were found at a depth of 8,400 feet, more than 7 times its intended test depth. The debris was located in an area covering approximately 1,440,000 square feet. By July 22, the major sections of the submarine had been identified, marking a critical step toward understanding the circumstances of its loss. Investigating the cause of sinking. Once the wreckage was recovered, a thorough investigation was initiated to determine the cause of the Thresher's sinking. The analysis team concluded that the primary issue revolved around a failure in the submarine's piping system. This failure was attributed to the reliance on silver brazing rather than welding, which ultimately led to catastrophic flooding within the vessel. Initial tests conducted on the brass joints indicated that 14% posed a risk that required immediate attention. Over the months that followed, similar failures were observed on other ballistic missile submarines, raising serious concerns about the Thresher's design and construction. During the Thresher's testing phase, simulations indicated that a single pipe failure could flood the engine room, potentially compromising the submarine's ability to surface safely. Although safety protocols were in place to address this risk, the reality of the situation proved dire. The submarine was designed with emergency features intended to facilitate surfacing even in the event of a significant failure. The resurfacing process typically began with the submarine achieving a positive angle to allow it to power to the surface. However, the communication log contained a concerning message: minor difficulties, have positive up angle, attempting to blow. The investigation speculated that for the blow process to have failed, additional complications must have arisen. Electrical failures and the reactor shutdown. The inquiry suggested that the high-pressure water from the damaged pipe may have short-circuited one of the electrical panels, triggering an emergency shutdown of the reactor, known as a scram. This procedure was designed to halt the nuclear chain reaction swiftly to prevent explosions or pollution in case of a reactor failure. Unfortunately, the process to restart the reactor was lengthy and complex. Crew members needed time to troubleshoot and isolate the issues that caused the reactor scram. Analyses indicated that at the depth the Thresher was operating, approximately 20 minutes would be needed to restart the reactor. If the crew had managed to isolate the short circuit quickly, an additional 10 minutes would have been required, time that the Thresher did not have, ultimately leading to its tragic implosion. Records of the court inquiry remained classified and unavailable to the public until 1998, when the Navy began declassifying some documents. However, in 2012, they decided against releasing all information, keeping many details concealed from public scrutiny. This only intensified the speculation surrounding the incident. Bruce Rule's electrical failure analysis. On April 8, 2013, Bruce Rule, a seasoned lead acoustic analyst for the U.S. Office of Naval Intelligence, published his analysis of the sinking based on classified SOSUS data from 1963. Rule's theory differed from the prevailing narrative. He argued that flooding was not the cause of the Thresher's loss. Instead, he posited that a failure in the electrical bus that powered the main coolant pumps triggered the disaster. According to Rule, after a brief period of electrical stability, the bus failed, leading to a reactor scram and a subsequent loss of propulsion. This failure would have caused the ballast blow to fail, which Rule believed better explained the final 900 message as a reference to the submarine's depth of 2,200 feet. Crucially, the crew aboard Skylark reported no sounds indicative of flooding, as communication with the Thresher continued up until its final moments. Rule concluded that the implosion was instantaneous, occurring within just 0.1 seconds, a duration too brief for the human nervous system to process. In that instant, all 129 crew members were lost. Legacy and changes in safety protocols. The loss of the USS Thresher reverberated throughout the U.S. Navy and prompted significant changes in submarine design and safety protocols. 6 months after the tragedy, the Navy announced a suspension of work on all 31 nuclear-powered submarines under construction that shared design characteristics with the Thresher. In response to the incident, the SUBSAFE program was established, which introduced vital safety features to Thresher-class submarines. Until these improvements were completed, every operational nuclear submarine was restricted to a maximum depth of only 50% of its test depth. Additionally, the loss spurred efforts to develop reactor scram restart procedures that would enhance the speed and efficiency of starting the reactor after a shutdown. Recognizing the need for improved deep-sea capabilities, the Navy also initiated the Deep Submergence Technologies Project, DSSP, aimed at designing and managing advanced deep ocean search vehicles capable of reaching depths of 20,000 feet, as well as 6 rescue submersibles engineered to access underwater incidents. The USS Thresher remains a poignant chapter in the history of naval operations, standing as the first and deadliest loss of a nuclear-powered submarine at that time. The pride of the Navy, she rests eternally in the depths, a solemn reminder of the sacrifices made by those who serve. Thank you for watching.